This is Jarrod Horak, and in this video, I'm going to analyze the Travers Stakes at Saratoga on Saturday, August 23rd. It goes as the 13th race, the Grade 1, $1.25 million Travers for 3-year-olds, a mile and a quarter on the main track, and the scheduled post time is 6:14 p.m. Eastern Time. First, we're going to meet the field, then I'm going to give out my contenders from last to first using today's Racing Digest past performances. Number 1 in this race is Magnitude, and he's 2-1 morning line. Jockey Ben Curtis, trainer Steve Asmussen. And Curtis rode this horse in his last 2 wins, and they were romping front-running victories in the Grade 2 Risen Star in February and the Iowa Derby on July 5th. He only knows one way to go, and that's to get out there and set the pace and go as far as he can, as fast as he can. Number 2 is Bracket Buster, and this one is 20-1 morning line, and he likes to be forwardly placed as well, but Magnitude has better pace ratings. Luis Saez is going to ride this one for the first time. He romped to an easy victory in the listed Pegasus Stakes at Monmouth in the slop on July 14th. That was a prep race for the Haskell Stakes. In that Grade 1 Haskell, he was 27-1. He broke from the inside post. He battled on the pace. He was 4th, beaten 8 lengths. Journalism and Gosker were 1st and 2nd. They were your top 2 finishers in the Preakness. And Goal Oriented was 3rd, and Bracket Buster was a distant 4th in that 8-horse field. He's going to have to go better here. Strategic Focus is number 3 for trainer Chad Brown, and he's adding blinkers for the first time. Chad Brown, first-time blinkers, 26% wins. They paid $500,000 for this son of Gun Runner, and Curlin is the dam sire, and he's the most lightly raced runner in this field, 3 lifetime starts, and he was a close 3rd as the beaten favorite in the Curlin Stakes at Saratoga at 1 1/8 on July 24th. Flavien Prat got to know him that day, and he's going to ride him back. Number 4, Sovereignty. He is your 2-5 morning line favorite with 8 career starts, 5 wins, and 2 runner-up finishes. He's 2 for 3 at Saratoga, and he's 2 for 2 at 1 1/4. His last 3 starts, 1st in the Grade 1 Kentucky Derby, 1st in the Grade 1 Belmont, and 1st in the Grade 2 Jim Dandy Stakes, the local prep for the Travers. So Sovereignty, he can close, he can stalk the pace as well. He's definitely the horse to beat, but he's not going to offer any value as the overwhelming favorite. Finally, number 5, McAfee. He's 20-1 morning line, and for this one, he has improved since adding blinkers in his last 3 starts. In the Grade 3 Peter Pan, the first time he wore blinkers, he was 2nd, beaten 3/4 of a length. In the Ohio Derby, a Grade 3 race at 1 1/8, he was 3rd, beaten 4 lengths. And the Grade 3 West Virginia Derby, he was 2nd last time out in an 8-horse field. So from the outside post, John Velasquez, who rode him in his last 3 starts, will stay aboard for trainer Rick Dutrow, and he'll probably be trying to close from off the pace. And now we'll look at today's Racing Digest past performances, and the past performances in this video are provided by todaysracingdigest.com. And if you need past performances for Travers Day, you can go over to todaysracingdigest.com and get those past performances for that 14-race program. Now we'll go last to first, and the horse that I picked to finish 5th and last is the 2 Bracket Buster, and I just don't see a winning trip for this one because Magnitude is the inside speed, and Bracket Buster is probably going to be chasing him. Now looking at his pace ratings, he did get a 162 pace rating in the Grade 1 Haskell, but that's not as fast as Magnitude's pace ratings, and I'll talk about him in a few minutes. Now in the slop, he did get a 149 final time rating, but that's not the race that I think he's going to run. I think he's going to run more like he did in his Haskell Stakes. Now looking at the class of this field, the race level is a 180, so that's the class level for this Grade 1 race for 3-year-olds, and he did run in at the 180 class level last time out in that Grade 1 Haskell, and he ended up finishing 4th, beaten 8 lengths, getting a 137 final time rating. That's the kind of number I'm expecting him to earn in this race, and that's not going to be fast enough to beat this field. The horse that I picked to finish 4th is McAfee, number 5, and this one's going to have to get faster as well. And I mentioned his last 3 starts, and the final time ratings in those races, a 141, a 120, and a 132. Now he's going to have to run faster. That 141 was his best effort when he ran 2nd in the Peter Pan Stakes. He's going to have to run better than that and faster than that, and he hasn't done that in his last 2 starts, and I don't know that he's going to be able to stretch out to 1 1/4 and uncork a new top speed rating. the horse that I picked to finish third is the one Magnitude. Now, Magnitude has the pace ratings. We mentioned Bracket Buster with a 162 pace rating from the Haskell. And in the last two starts for Magnitude, winning both of those races, his pace ratings are 165 and a 167. So he's the fastest horse, and he has the inside post. So I'm looking for him to go out there and try the wire of the field. And for him, his final time ratings in those last two victories are 147 and a 149. So he does match up on final time ratings, and he's got good pace ratings as well. The question is going to be the 1.25 mile distance after just one start since February. So he was injured after he won the Grade 2 Risen Star. He hurt his ankle. He was off for a few months, and then he came back and he impressively won the Iowa Derby. So now will he be able to step up and defeat this field? His best chance is a speed-friendly track for him to get out there and get a clear early lead and get some daylight on Sovereignty and just open up on the field and never let Sovereignty get a chance. That's his best chance to win this race. That's probably the second most likely outcome. If you watched my video that I did, my Travers preview video last week, I mentioned that the three most likely outcomes in this race were Sovereignty's the best horse, he would win. Magnitude would have that second most likely winner. And then if for whatever reason Magnitude couldn't get the distance and Sovereignty stubbed his toe, somebody else would win. And Sovereignty is my second choice in here, even though I know that he's the horse to beat. Wouldn't be surprised if he won this race. I've always liked this horse. He was my top-ranked Derby contender after he won the Grade 3 Street Scent Stakes, and I just had him and Journalism as my top two three-year-olds throughout the winter, and then straight into the Triple Crown season. And that turned out to be that they were the best two three-year-olds, and Sovereignty was able to get the job done in the Derby, and I was able to hit that race with the win bet and the exacta as well. So I had a good day with the Derby, and then when Sovereignty wasn't in the Preakness, I had Journalism in the Preakness, and I didn't cash in the Belmont, but he was very impressive in the Belmont, probably his most visually impressive victory. And I thought the best chance to beat him probably was the Jim Dandy. He wasn't 100% cranked for that race. That was just 1 1/8, and he was just using that as a prep for this Travers. But he won that race anyway, but he only won it by a length over Baeza. Baeza definitely improved. Sovereignty still had a bit too much for him, and he was able to prevail in that event, and he's well set up for this event. His final time ratings, his last four starts, 132, and that 132 was in the Florida Derby where he finished second, and that's the last time he lost. And then he got a 138 in the Kentucky Derby, a 143 in the Belmont, a 147 in the Jim Dandy. So will he be able to uncork another top? Definitely possible. He's 2 for 2 at 1 1/4, so I think the distance of this race definitely suits him. He's the most likely winner, not going to offer a lot of value, wouldn't be upset to see him win, and that could definitely happen under Junior Alvarado, but we'll see if he can just come forward again, because he's earned top ratings in his last 4 starts. I don't know if he has another forward move in him, but we're going to find out. And maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe he's just the best horse and he wins anyway. I'm going to take a shot with Strategic Focus, number 3, as my top choice in this event. And I like that he's lightly raced. He has the most upside in here, and I like that pedigree. Gunrunner and Curlin. I think he's going to be able to get the 1 1/4 based on the pedigree. I mentioned Blinkers On, a strong move for trainer Chad Brown, 26% wins. And if a horse needed blinkers, this is probably the one. In his career debut, that was on April 19th at Aqueduct, he won that race nicely. A 1-turn mile, getting a 134 final time rating. Then his second career start, he stretched out around 2 turns, 1 1/8, optional claiming race against older horses. And that was a good effort. He was able to cross the line first there, defeating his stablemate Malarchuk and his older stablemate there. But he was disqualified and placed second through disqualification, and he got a 140 final time rating. So that was a nice improvement second time out. And it was also nice to see that race validated when Malarchuk came back and earned a strong speed rating, winning his next start. And Strategic Focus was the heavy favorite in the Curlin Stakes, and it looked like he had that race wrapped up in the stretch. He was stalking the pace. He took the lead. He had a clear lead. It looked like he was home free, but he switched back to his wrong lead in the stretch, allowed his stablemate, Chancer McPatrick, back into the race, and then he ended up finishing a close third, beaten a half length. And Chancer McPatrick did win that race, but he's turning back to run in the H. Allen Jerkin. Strategic Focus is the one that's moving on to this race. Now, he can't make any mistakes here against Sovereignty. Sovereignty is a seasoned stakes performer. Strategic Focus now has that stakes experience, and we're going to see if he can move forward. Now, one of the reasons that I ended up picking him in here is because Chad Brown has had success with lightly raced horses jumping into big Grade 1 races. Go back to Cloud Computing. Now, Cloud Computing was a horse that had 3 lifetime starts with a win, a second, and a third. He was third in the Wood Memorial, and then Chad Brown, off of that third in the Wood Memorial, targeted the Preakness Stakes, and he was able to upset the Preakness and win it that year. Early Voting is another one. Early Voting had 3 career starts with 2 wins and a second. He was second in the Wood Memorial, and Chad Brown jumped him off of that loss in the Wood Memorial into the Grade 1 Preakness, and he won that race as my top choice. So Strategic Focus has that strong pedigree. Claravich Stables, same owners, same trainer as Cloud Computing and Early Voting, and he has a lot of upside. Flavien Prat's going to have him in a good spot in here. We're just going to see if he's good enough. I don't know if he's good enough. This might be too much too soon, but he has a lot of upside. I'm expecting him to run a quality race in here. I don't know if that's good enough to beat Sovereignty, but I'm going to take a shot at a price that maybe he'll be able to upset Sovereignty. But I think it's between those two. I do think you're going to see Magnitude setting the pace. I'm a little bit concerned in the stretch if he's going to be able to hang in there. But again, watch all the races at Saratoga on Saturday. If it's a speed favoring track and Magnitude's able to take advantage of something like that, that could be something that could happen. As I said, that's the second most likely outcome. The most likely outcome, definitely Sovereignty winning. And I went with my third most likely outcome, which was Magnitude couldn't get the distance and Sovereignty didn't quite run his A race, and Strategic Focus is going to come along and upset the field. It could be a close finish, but we'll look for Strategic Focus maybe to upset Sovereignty. And for Sovereignty fans, don't be upset. I have no disrespect at all. I've always liked Sovereignty. I think he's the most likely winner here, but I'm going with the value here, Strategic Focus, as my top choice. And that'll do it for this video. And if you're interested in my full card analysis, I'm covering a full card for Travers Day at Saratoga, all 14 races. You can get that full card at the runawayhorse.com on my shop page, also on my handicapper page at todaysracingdigest.com. I also cover full cards each day that Dalmar runs. So like, comment, and share these videos if you like them. Subscribe to my channel as well. It's free to subscribe. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.